in the shadow of the hill of Griffith Street Park, or at the roller rink behind the mall, out in the tall, tall grass that always broke our fall. Friday night underneath the Texaco sign, I pledged a love so strong that it would be undying. I never saw the heartbreak with which I would collide. On that Friday night underneath the Texaco sign, Friday night underneath the Texaco sign, there's a train in the distance, I can hear it crying. Or is it just my heart longing for those times? All those Friday nights underneath the Texaco sign. All those Friday nights underneath the Texaco sign. Texaco sign. Texaco sign. Texaco sign.
All right, good
Hello.
evening. Hello. Hey, so my name is Phil Henry, and I can get rid of this banner here because we are here. And here we have Phil Henry from Rutland, Vermont, and Davey O from Buffalo, New York. How's it going, Davey?
It's going well. Thanks for inviting me to do this.
Sure. So I'm now going to flip over to the comments because we do have a stream of comments. So people who are popping on, feel free to to heckle or shout or make requests or whatever.
Yeah.
Oh, all right, we got Dave who's coming to us from Virginia. All right, who just got a new house in Castleton, Virginia, I believe. So, hi, Dave. I'm so glad that you're here. All right. Oh, ice storm tonight. Yeah, they're talking about snow here in Vermont for tomorrow afternoon. My wife already got canceled out of work. So,
How much snow are they expecting?
I'm sorry?
How much snow are they expecting?
Oh, actually, not crazy a lot. Just a little bit. But it's coming in tomorrow afternoon, which is a thing. All right, some friends of yours coming on.
All right.
Can you see the comments where you are, Dave?
I saw the first one, yeah.
Well, if you click over to comments, I don't know if you can see. You've got
okay,
Leslie popped on.
All right, there we go. Hey, Leslie.
Yeah.
Leslie's in Phyllis Conroy. I'm playing her house concert series in Ithaca in March, at the end of March. So.
All right, La La Land is Ithaca, not L.A., huh?
No, it's actually a house concert series, so I'm looking forward to it. Yeah.
All right, really cool.
Nancy is a friend of mine I went to college with.
All right, very nice. It looks like Team Davey is in the house. Well, we're going to trade some songs and talk about songwriting and spend, I don't know, maybe about a half an hour and kind of sharing some songs, and we'll talk about a really cool gig that we're going to do in just 2 weeks in Buffalo. So
cool.
I'm going to start off and then toss it over to Dave. This is This is a song that takes place in Rutland, Vermont. This is in Rutland at 8:50 every night. The firehouse blows this long, loud whistle that they do as it used to be a curfew. And now there's no curfew, but the residents still want it as tradition anyway. This is called 10 of 9. Parking lots in Depot Park, worn all stars on our feet. We were young and dumb and free as we could be. We went kicking cans and making plans, two kids loose on West Street, as the summer stretched out far as we could see. Throwing rocks at passing trains, wishing we could hop aboard and fly away. But these huffies would have to do, blood brothers, me and you, riding on till we hear the 10 of 9. It's 10 of 9 when you hear the fire station whistle blow. It's time, goodbye, I gotta go. If I'm late, I know somebody will be waiting at the door to call me home when I hear the 10 of 9. Caps and gowns and broken crowns, we grew up bright and brave, though I long since packed my chucks and ran away. But so many nights the city lights won't glimmer through the haze, and the sirens and the horns keep me awake. And I think about you now. You're fighting fires in our little town. There's that old familiar sigh, I think it's only in my mind, but tonight I can hear the 10 of 9. It's 10 of 9 when you hear the fire station whistle blow. It's time, goodbye, I gotta go. If I'm late, I know somebody will be waiting at the door to call me home when I hear the 10 of 9. I hear the 10 of 9. And I won't leave you behind. You hear the 10 of 9. And now the flag is flying high over ladder number 5, and the whole brigade is dressed up in their best. Smell of smoke is sifting down, it still lingers over town as we gather here to lay my friend to rest. Now the captain stands to say, when the call comes, will you run or will you stay? Then the fire whistle blows, so sad and sweet and low, and I cry when I hear the 10 of 9. It's 10 of 9 when you hear the fire station whistle blow. It's time, goodbye, I gotta go. If I'm late, I know somebody will be waiting at the door to call me home when I hear the 10 of 9. I hear the 10 of 9. I won't leave you behind when you hear the 10 of 9.
That was
All
beautiful.
right, all right, all right. So,
That brought back oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
oh, I'm sorry. No, not at all. That's a song I wrote with my good buddy Nick Grandchamp, who's hopefully listening from his job at the co-op downtown. So, all right,
that brings back a lot of memories of being a kid to me. You know?
Yeah. Well, I chose that one partially. Oh, there is one of my former students popped on to say to applaud. One of the reasons that I picked that to start off is I had just been listening to your song Texaco Sign, which has that nostalgic
So should I
flavor
start out
to
with
it.
that?
No. It's whatever you want. I don't want to. I'm not going to hijack your set.
Well, that's the
with
beauty
my
of
request for you.
Part of the, we're doing the Songwriters in the Round show in a couple of weeks, and that's one of the beauties about doing the Songwriters in the Round show, is that you have this grandiose plan in your head of you write out a bunch of songs you feel like you'd want to play, and maybe put some new material in there, right? That kind of thing, and then somebody plays a song. A topical song, and it throws a curveball into the whole list, right? And you end up having to try to match the topic in some way with something out of your catalog, and that's what happens, right?
Absolutely.
But I'm not going to play Texaco Sign until later. I am going to play another song. I'm going to play another song off that album, though, and it's the title track of the album. It's an album called Some Days, which I put out in 2023. And I got the idea for this song a couple of winters back when our dog Addison was still with us, and I was walking her through the woods at about that time of the afternoon when the sun's starting to go down a little bit in the wintertime, at about 4 o'clock, 4:30. And the paths were covered with snow, and I just was taken by the way that the length of the trees' shadows on top of the snow. And I started thinking about a lot of stuff I do on my walks. I started thinking about the dichotomy of life, and thinking about how sometimes you wake up in the morning and you feel like you could do anything and conquer the world, and other days you just want to pull the blinds back down and go back to sleep for a little while. And that's kind of the basis of this song. This is called Some Days. Some days I grow tired, some days I am weak, some days there's no fire in the words that I will speak. Some days I'm the wave, some days I get tossed, some days I can turn the page, and some days I am lost. The light grows shorter now, the trees cast the shadows long and low against the house. Some days I feel fine, some days I am not. Some days I will find that some days this is all I've got. Some days I will give, some days I will get. Some days I will live for days that haven't happened yet. Grows shorter now, the trees cast the shadows long and low against the house. If I go back and listen to their stories, I'd fall off track, reliving all those glory days, reliving all those glory days. Some days I feel alone, some days I feel down, some days I'm the king of thrones and others I'm the clown. Some days I rise above, some days I fall behind, but each day I give love and every day I am kind. Oh, the light grows longer now, the trees cast the shadows. Oh, the light grows longer now, the trees cast the shadows.
Very, very nice. That's Davey O doing Some Days. I was so lucky. We live in, my wife and I live here in Rutland, Vermont, but my wife's family is from Buffalo. And so we had the great pleasure to stop by and experience your CD release show.
Yeah, that was great.
For Some Days, that was at the Ninth Ward, which those of you who aren't in the Buffalo area, it's this amazing venue put on, that's owned by Ani DeFranco. A beautiful hall upstairs, and then this really intimate, great listening room downstairs, which is just so amazing.
Yeah, I've seen shows in both locations, and it's always an honor to play that room. It's just really, like you said, it's very intimate, especially when they do a show where they put the seats on the floor, and there's a nice little tiny stage, kind of like a grotto behind it, and it's just top notch, and the sound's always really good in there. And I love playing that place. It's one of my favorite venues in Buffalo.
Yeah. Well, it's been my favorite venue to go see stuff, you included.
Yeah.
Hey, while we're talking about shows, I might as well throw the let me see the information
did you
for.
put the Venmo info up too and all that stuff?
Oh my gosh, yeah. So it's in some of the chat, and I'm not sure if everyone can see all the comments in the chat from going back. I don't know, maybe not. I'm gonna post some more things, but I will just put right here. I'll put a Davey. There's Davey's.
That's it. Yeah. And don't forget to tip Phil too.
Yeah, and and I'm less concerned about that as I am. I want to make sure that everyone sees that we've got. It's a thing that people do on streaming shows. So it's like you step on a corner and you open up your guitar case, right? This is the virtual guitar case. I'm gonna throw this up on the screen, but I know that's a thing that you can't necessarily grab. But I'm gonna make a copy and put it back in the
so Phil's coming to Buffalo, and he's going to play at my Nickel City Sessions songwriter series, which I resurrected this year thanks in part to the folks at the Cave. Also, I've partnered with the Feed More Western New York, which is our local food bank. So anybody attending that show, instead of paying $15, if you bring a non-perishable food item donation, it'll only be $10 to get in. And so you're going to see some great music, great songwriters, great stories, support a local venue on a Wednesday night, and you're going to help a local food bank as well in the process. So it's a win-win for everybody.
So this is the second of this new series,
yes.
Returning series. And it's a Songwriters in the Round, as you alluded to before, where all the songwriters are all on stage at the same time. I mean, much like what we're doing right now, except, one person will sing a song and then pass it off to the next person and go right down the line. So it's the two of us. And who else is going to be there?
Tom Stahl, who's a wonderful songwriter from the Buffalo area. And he also has a band called Tom Stahl and the Dangerfields.
Yeah, and I know his stuff, but I've never met him, so I'm excited.
Yeah, he's a great songwriter, he's a super nice guy. And Buck Quigley, who is a lead singer and songwriter for a long-standing kind of a honky-tonk Americana band. They're almost like I would consider Buck Quigley to be Buffalo's Dwight Yoakam.
Fantastic.
Yeah, so Buck Quigley of the Steam Donkeys, that's the name of the band he plays with.
That's got to have a story, and I can't wait to hear it.
Yeah, you can ask them in person when you see them. So the four of us are going to be doing this next round of Songwriters Night there at the Cave. So it's going to be great. It's always fun. I always get a little nervous before it, wondering how many people are going to show up, and hoping that everything goes well and everybody shows up on time for sound check. And there's nothing worse than sound checking when people are already in the audience. So, but all that's,
I will get there on time. I promise.
I know you will. I know you will. You're a pro. It's anxiousness more than anything. You just want everything to go well. I think,
absolutely.
Anything, right? So,
and you already had one. And how did that one go?
It went very well. We had a nice crowd, about 30 people, and had some more. Two of the artists were more along the lines of indie rock, and then we had another artist named Tyler Bagwell, who is kind of. Do you know Dave Rook?
I don't.
He's from Buffalo. He's plays in a bunch of different groups, but he also does a lot of. He plays at a lot of schools and goes around the state playing at schools and does historically themed shows with historical folk music to go along with the stories that he tells.
Excellent.
Well, Tyler is very much cut of the same cloth, and his songwriting tends to focus on historical events in Buffalo, a lot of it to do with labor and stuff like that. And he's like an old soul in a young man's body, and he sings with the grit of an Irish pub singer singing his lungs out in a bar. And so he was a really nice addition to the lineup this year. He was supposed to play at the old location, and then COVID happened and all that.
Right. That's kind of when things went south. We lost the series,
and Mark moved to.
Yeah, the venue went away. Yeah,
the venue went away. So, but we're back, and I'm happy to be back, and I'm happy that you're back because you played this series before as well. So
yeah, absolutely. So since you mentioned kind of historical, I'm going to do a historical tune. I'm going to throw that back up there just so. I have been finding myself doing things based on Vermont history, but usually it's only the weird stuff. So this is a brand new song. I think I've only played it for Humans twice. So Vermont has the kind of strange history that we have only one recorded witch trial, which happened in the southern part of the state, and 100 years after the Salem witch trials. So a little behind the eight ball, I guess. But this was more actually inspired by politics a little bit. We just went through a very kind of painful election in many ways, and this one it brings to mind a little bit of election stuff, but in an 18th century witch trial. So this is called "Extraordinary Woman," which is what witches who were tried would be called. So here it is. Don't want to have my Venmo up the whole time. So I'm going to get rid of that. It's driving me nuts. I don't want to look at that. This is called Extraordinary Woman. They call me Margaret Krieger, the widow. I stand here falsely accused for crimes of God's nature subverted. But the truth is they don't care what the truth is. My husband, he ran this old mill on the Hoosic till one day in November he died. I tried to keep that big wheel turning. Town folk dragged me out to the ice. They call me a witch, they call me a crone, toss me into the river to sink like a stone. Two sides of the ice, now I'm down below. Two sides of the story, but I'll never know how far the righteous will go to drown an extraordinary woman in the cold. And it's not the weight of the wool or the water that pulls me down, 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 or the shock of the cold or the cruelty. I thought I knew my place in this town. I see faces, neighbors and strangers, and generations of grist for the mill. And they'll curse you or kill you or worse, they'll save you, and still nothing changes. They'll call you a witch, they'll call you a crone, toss you into the river to sink like a stone. Two sides of the ice, now I'm down below. Two sides of the story, but they'll never know how far the righteous will go to drown an extraordinary woman in the cold. They raise me, shivering out of the water. They spare me, ashamed and abused. Was it grace or their guilt that acquits me? The truth is, I don't care what the truth is. Thank you.
That's cool. You know who does historic? Louise Coombe.
Oh, sure.
She has some really cool historical base.
Yeah,
songs.
you know, I just got her new album too, which has some of that great stuff on it.
Like I remember
she's
her, on one of her early records, she had that the Battle of Blair Mountain or something. I think she's a great writer.
Yes.
Man, that was a really good song.
Well, thank you. It's new, so I appreciate that.
Yeah, and I'm going to do something newer as well. It's a couple years old. I haven't recorded, other than a demo, I haven't recorded the song. You always go through that, dilemma of when, should I release a new album? Shouldn't I? How well are CDs doing? That kind of thing.
I know,
right?
I know.
It's the inner struggle, right? And also the not just an inner struggle, but a struggle with your bank account, right? Do I want to spend? Because they get you, right? Like the difference between getting 500 CDs made and 1,000 CDs is like negligible, like it's nothing, right? So you end up getting 1,000, and then you look at the boxes in your basement and you piss and moan about it all day, right?
I know, and we're in that world where everyone's on Spotify, and let's put the stuff on Spotify. But I got to tell you, I just put up your
yes, thank you.
Your store.
You bought a CD. You bought a copy of Some Days earlier.
Well, the funny thing is, I have the CD, but I was like, I want to put on some music before the whole show starts, and then I couldn't put my hand on the CD. I guess that's
I know where it is.
Disadvantage of the CD?
It's underneath your drink. You're using it as a coaster.
But your store is amazing. I mean, it's very, very quick. You can get the download like just that fast,
Yeah.
and it's all through your website. You're not going to some third party. It's right there, and it's very easy to get your music. So if you don't have your record, you should go check it out.
So there, getting to new music and writing new songs. You know, you've probably been asked this question as many times as I have. I have people come up to, so what's first, lyrics or lyrics or the music, and how do you write? And
Yes,
those kinds of questions. And there's no real definite. For me, there's no definitive answer, because songs, when they do come to me, they come from myriad sources, right? Like sometimes thank goodness we now have phones that we can speak into a voice recorder on, because half the ideas would get lost, right?
that's right.
So that has become a really good tool. Even when I get a lyric idea, I can type it into the notepad real fast and come up with an idea, keep that idea handy. And even if you just sing a melody, even if you don't get to it for a couple of weeks, you can go back to that little voice recording and it'll rewire your brain to where you were when you got the idea, and you can kind of take it from there.
Absolutely. I've found little gifts from myself from, a year ago or 2 years ago, and it'll pop up on memories, and I go, oh, look at that.
Yeah, and then sometimes you listen back to it and you go, what was I thinking? This is crap, right? This is not good. So this song, I can only speak for myself, but when I drive home from gigs, whether it's, if I'm on the road and driving back to a hotel or where I'm staying, or whether I'm driving a half hour or 2 hours home from a gig in the Finger Lakes, like in this case, I was driving home from the Finger Lakes. A lot of times I just like to not listen to any music, and I just want to drive and concentrate on driving and kind of just relax and unwind my mind. And some of it's, some of the time spent thinking about the gig and what I played well and what I didn't play well. Maybe the set could have been better. But I happened to be driving home from a brewery in the Finger Lakes a couple of years ago. I think it was at the end of the summer. And for some reason, I just started thinking about my life as a touring musician and all the friends and family that I've managed to I don't want to say accumulate. I've made a lot of friends doing this, and family is always kind of there anyways for that. But all the people I've met that have opened up their home to me when I go on tour, they find out I'm coming through, or I can reach out to them and say, hey, I'm coming to town. Is it possible for me to stay with you? And my friend Leslie, who's watching tonight, her and her husband Jim, I met them at Falcon Ridge Folk Festival. When I volunteered to work on the instrument lockup crew. They were the heads of the instrument lockup crew, and we became friends. And I ended up playing a couple house concerts for them. And whenever I was playing in Massachusetts, the invitation has kind of always been there to stay with them. And on one occasion, I was needing some place to stay, and so I reached out to them, and they said, well, you can stay at the house, but we're going to be visiting our daughter. I think at the time she lived in Maryland. And they said, but don't worry, we'll leave a key under the door for you. And they kind of gave me instructions, like the door sticks, and there'd be some beer in the fridge, and just use the room you always use upstairs, that kind of stuff. And so I was thinking about that, and thinking about a little sign they have in their kitchen that says "Mi casa, su casa," which, if you know any little bit of Spanish, it means "my home is your home." So I got this melody and idea for the words "my home is your home," and I sang it into my phone while I was driving. Don't do that at home, kids. And and later in the week, after I had gotten home from that gig, I started thinking about that, and I started thinking about the kind of note you would leave for somebody who's going to be staying with you and you're not there to greet them. So this is a song called The Welcome Note, and I dedicate this to all my friends who let me stay with them, particularly Leslie and Jim, who we'll see next week. They're coming to visit us on their way to Toronto.
I left the key under the doormat, inside a note that said, make yourself at home. And help yourself to that six-pack. The cat's upstairs so you won't feel so alone. My home is your home, isn't that what I said? My home is your home, and don't you ever forget. In the fridge is eggs and bacon. The milk is near its expiration date. And if you can't resist temptation, have the last piece of my birthday cake. 'Cause my home is your home, isn't that what I said? My home is your home, and then never forget. I know you're tired and you probably need to rest. Living out between the lines is difficult at best. But if you need an extra day to stay, that's fine. It might help to get those worries off your mind. Lock up as you're leaving and leave the key in the can behind the shed. I have a hard time believing when I think of you and where this road has led. But my home is your home, isn't that what I said? My home is your home. My home is your home, isn't that what I said? My home is your home, and don't you ever forget.
Gorgeous.
Thank
That's
you.
so nice. So is that one of the we were chatting before we got started, and you mentioned that you'd started tracking some things for maybe some recordings for the future. Have you is this one that you've started to commit to
Not yet,
ones and
just-
zeros?
No, not yet. No,
Not yet.
I did a demo of it and threw it up on SoundCloud, but not a song that I've committed to recording, because I don't know how I want to approach it. So there's a big part of me that wants to leave it just like that, and then there's would it benefit from like a mandolin or a violin part? You just think about all these things, and you could get yourself into a whirlwind of stuff like that, and once you go down that rabbit hole, you start adding more things. Sometimes you just you add more stuff, and then you realize that. I did that on my last album. There's a song on my last album called "For a Little While," and I had drum parts on it and everything. And then I started listening to it, and I was like, it really doesn't need it. I stripped the drums out of it and just made it a guitar, voice, piano, and bass song, and it worked best in that format. So
Yeah,
you can just get
sometimes
yourself in all
less
kinds
is
of trouble.
more. Yeah,
It is.
You're a guy that can do all of that stuff too. So you've got your studio space there, and you don't need to hire out a ton of musicians. You're a great bass player, and you play mandolin as well. Yes.
I would never say I played mandolin. I can play a part. I can like piano. I don't know how I passed my piano proficiency exam in college because I can't play piano that well. Like right now,
Same with me.
I can plunk out chords and make up a part and make it sound like somebody played, a competent musician played piano on and I'm the same way with mandolin. I rely on musicality, I guess would be the best way to, and instincts. And you kind of, after doing this for a while, you kind of know when something doesn't sound right. Mm-hmm. I think and that's not bragging. It's just, you just know it. It's just like, this isn't happening, or maybe I should get somebody else to play this part because it would benefit from it if somebody who actually knew what the hell they were doing played this. But I can. If somebody handed me a mandolin in like an Irish session or something, I would be like, no, I'm here. You have it back. I'm not going to embarrass myself, right?
Yeah.
So
yeah.
It's
well, right on. Hey, so you mentioned Falcon Ridge, so I'm going to throw this little thing on the screen. Let's see, where is it? I missed it. Oh, nope, I lost it. Oh, here it is. So nothing says Falcon Ridge like the Nields, and you're going to be opening for the Nields on March 11th at that very same venue we were chatting about, the Ninth Ward, Ani DeFranco's venue in Buffalo. So that sounds like it's going to be a pretty sweet show.
Yeah, and I actually met them when I was doing that the instrument lockup volunteer gig, and they were quite pleasantly surprised that I knew that their name wasn't a plural word. I guess it's a bone of contention with them. They're like, "Where's the apostrophe in your name?"
It's Nield, right?
It's
Nield.
It's Nield. It's not their last name is
Katrina
Nield, and we're the
Larissa
Nields,
Nield.
plural.
Yeah.
Their last name is Nields.
Right? Actually, I'm not sure that that occurred to me either.
Yeah, well, it occurred to me, and they were like, "Oh my God, somebody gets it." So. This is what happens when you watch too much Jeopardy. You get smart. A little bit, anyways. You get a little, or you realize how stupid you really are when you watch Jeopardy, and you're like, "Yeah, this category on physics is not working for me."
Oh my goodness! Well, I realized that my in-laws were tuning in before and right during Jeopardy, when Jeopardy airs in Buffalo. So, I'm very sorry, Mary and Paul, for interrupting Jeopardy.
We DVR it. We DVR it and watch it later, so we can zip through the commercials.
All right. Well, I think we're going to do one more song each. I want to just mention a couple more things. Once again, we're both going to be doing this great songwriter show in 2 weeks from today in Buffalo. So those of you who are local over there, please do go check out that show. We would love to see you. All these people now that I'm meeting virtually, I'd love to meet you in person. And let's see. The next day, I've got a show in Westfield.
That's the day after. That's the day after.
Yeah.
I played the inaugural show of that. Tim Wright's a great songwriter. He's playing at Nickel City Sessions eventually.
Oh, fantastic! And, he's hosting the night with 3 other songwriters as well.
Yeah, and it's a nice little room. It's kind of like a black box theater kind of setup, so it's really nice and intimate.
Yeah, and another one that I will also put in the chat so that the link is there. The night after that, I've ended up with a little Western New York, Central Western New York tour, starting from home? Your show.
Yeah.
And it's going to be in Syracuse at my good friend Jeffrey Pepper Rogers and Wendy Sassafras Ramsey's place. A little house concert. And those of you who are in the know about house concerts, they're one of the greatest ways to take in music.
Absolutely.
Do you know Jeffrey and Wendy?
I do, yes. And in fact, I was just we get Acoustic Guitar Magazine delivered to Guitar Center where I work, and I always steal it. So I've got to snag the copy that just came in because Jeffrey did an interview with Lisa Loeb that I'd like to read.
Oh, very nice.
Also, the cover is Roseanne Cash, so I'd like to read that as well because I think the article's in part about her designing guitars for Gibson. She has a signature.
Really?
She has a signature Gibson now. So
no kidding.
So I want to dive into that article because I'm a little geeky when it comes to guitars. So.
Gotcha. All right, I want to get rid of this thing before I see. There we go. Haha. There we go. Gotcha. Yeah, Jeff Jeff and Wendy are just the sweetest people, and I've knew Wendy for years before I knew Jeff, and I ended up having dinner at Jeffrey's house, and it was such a trippy thing to be like, oh, I'm having dinner with this very nice guy, and also I just read his book. So,
cool.
He's a fine writer as well as a fine musician.
You did a wonderful version of the Cheap Trick song a few years back, I Want You to Want Me, with singing harmonies, and it was fantastic. That's a wonderful version. If you want to look that up on YouTube, you can do that. Well, I got a minute before you do your song. I just want to thank you for inviting me to sing background vocals on your MacGuffin album.
Oh, my pleasure. That was so much fun.
It was. And I got to tell you, one of the reasons I want to thank you is because you were aware of the Bell's palsy that I was going through at the time. And it was very difficult for me to sing, not to sing out, but to have enunciation at that point because half my face wouldn't work. And you asked me to do it, and you sent me the track, and I hope I did the best I could. I think I can hear myself on that.
Well,
really
I
gave
knew
me
that
a little
your
confidence.
voice was the voice I wanted on there. So
Okay.
however long it took, and however many takes you needed to get it to enunciate the way you needed it to, I was happy with.
It gave me it was a shot in the arm that I needed because I was really I tried to get through. If anybody's ever had Bell's palsy or is aware of what it is, it's a tough thing to go through. I still have little residual effects of it, but it was a pretty I didn't miss any gigs because of it either. I taught myself how to play harmonica again with half my mouth while I was because I couldn't close my mouth, and I just was determined to not miss a gig. But you giving me that opportunity was a blessing because it helped me to realize that I could fight my way through this and music helped me a lot. It helped me a lot to get through that. So thank you for inviting me to
oh my goodness, the pleasure is mine. Thank you so much. Okay, so I'm going to do one more song, and then we'll turn it over to Dave for one more song. I'm so glad there have been people just kind of popping in and out throughout the time. We're already way past the time, mostly because we've been gabbing. Which is great.
Well, I want to say hi to my nephew Patrick and my family. They kind of just tuned in. It's under Han.
Awesome.
So thank you, Patrick, for getting the family on board.
Awesome. All right, so let's see. Okay, so I'm gonna do one more song that I co-wrote with my buddy Nick Grandchamp. I've been on a tear of co-writing, and in particular with this guy Nick, who is a former student of mine. He's a punk rock musician in Rutland, and he just he's a wellspring of ideas. Not a week really goes by without Nick sending me a line, a video of a riff, something, and he's totally okay if that little bit of lyric or a little bit of riff never goes anywhere. But a whole lot of the time, it kind of sparks something. So here's one that we just finished last week. This is called Green Mountain Blues. 7 north from Bennington, feeling low as I've ever been. 4-ball tires and now nor'easter snow. Still the last thing that you said is riding shotgun in my head. Wished I'd never started down that road. I've come too far to turn back now. Gotta find a way somehow. Sometimes I feel like I was born to lose. Green Mountain Blues. Wiper blades are wearing thin, can't see past the shape I'm in. Miles from the man I wanna be. If I can make it home tonight, maybe I can make it right. Find a way back to you and me. I've come too far to turn back now. I gotta find a way somehow. Sometimes I feel like I was born to lose. This life is lonesome, dark and deep, but I've got promises to keep. How long before I finally paid my dues? Green Mountain Blues. Green Mountain Blues. When Vermont grows green again, when our rambling sorrows end, we'll lay down underneath the maple tree. Forgotten be the Arctic air that once laid our branches bare. And only love and blue skies will we see. Come too far to turn back now. I gotta find a way somehow. Sometimes I'm thinking I was born to lose. This life is lonesome, dark and deep, but I got promises to keep. How long before I finally paid my dues? Green Mountain Blues. Green Mountain Blues. Well, thank you, and hats off to Nick Grandchamp, working at the co-op tonight.
Your revelation that your co-writing partner on these songs is a punk rocker. It kind of goes back to our discussion before we went live about me being a rocker previously, and how did you're going to be his gateway to folk.
I think so.
Yeah, I think so. So.
I think he's got a folk soul. Yes, that's true.
Yeah. Well, it's good. To I think it's really. I've known a few, like Pat Wichter, right?
Oh, sure. Yeah, he was a rocker.
Incredible. He's like he loves really heavy rock music, and so do I. I like a lot of heavy rock music too. I just don't want to play it anymore. My ears can't handle it, and I don't feel like lugging a bass rig around anymore. So I'm okay with lugging a nice light acoustic guitar around, playing gigs. And would you agree that there's something to songwriting that the thing about songwriting? First of all, I think it's a complete mystery how songs arrive, but also there's something to the puzzle aspect. It's like a puzzle, trying to put together and marry the right melody to the right chord changes, and make the lyrical content not only be substantive but also have a conclusion of some like a A to B journey.
Yeah, absolutely. There's no sense in just repeating the same thing.
Right.
You got to go somewhere with it.
Yeah, it's why I always marvel at some of the songs that win Grammys in pop categories where there's 8 or 9 writers on it and there's 5 lines of lyric. You know, like, it took 8 of you to write that. Really? Okay. So I was going to do a totally different song. I was going to do Texaco Sign, but your song reminded me of another song off my latest album that was born from 2 incidents of winter driving on tour. The first
You've
was in
sworn off the winter driving now, haven't you?
Well, yeah, that's part of the story. So a few years back, like 2016, I was on tour in Michigan, and I just got done playing a house concert in Jackson, Michigan, and the host took me out to breakfast, and they said, you know, on your way to the western part of Michigan, you should stop in Lansing and go to Elderly Instruments and hang out there.
Oh, yeah.
Which I'd known of Elderly Instruments. I just never had the chance to go there. It's a wonderful guitar shop. And so I stopped there for a little while. And when I was leaving, light snow flurries were starting to fall. So off I went to Boyne City, Michigan to play at a place called Cafe Sante. And as I got further north and further west, the snow kept getting heavier and heavier and heavier to the point where I couldn't see 5 feet in front of me. And I saw 3 vehicles off the road, and I was about 2 hours away from the venue. So I pulled over and called them and said, look, it's not looking very good. I think I'm going to bail. And so they was like, fine, you know, the weather's really bad up here, and we don't know how many people are going to show up for your gig. So I turned around, cut through Canada, and got home. And I made a vow that between the middle of November and March of the following year, I would stay within an hour of Buffalo. Until the next year, I got a call from 6 on the Square in Oxford, New York, which is a wonderful little listening room outside of Binghamton. And I'd met Carol and Nancy, who are the booking people there at NERFA. And I had been trying for almost 6 years to get a gig there. And they finally contacted me and said, we'd like to co-bill you with a songwriter from down near New York City. His name's Kyle Hancharik. And we'd like you to do a co-bill with him. I said, great, I'd love to do that. When is it? He said, February. Well, February wasn't the only F word that came out of my mouth after that. So I agreed to take the gig. And on my way there, after I got off the New York State Thruway, I was driving on some dirt roads through farmland. And I came over the crest of a hill, and the snow was all patted down. It had turned into a sheet of ice. And my Subaru started sliding down the hill with the brakes on towards cars who were in my lane trying to pass a semi who had its 4-ways on. All I could think of was like, this is it. This is the end of the road, Buddy Holly style. I'm going to crash. And
was this before the gig or after the gig?
This was before the gig. I was on my way.
So you didn't even get to play the gig. In that
well,
case,
yeah, I didn't get to play the gig
if you die there on the highway.
Right. So they saw me and got out of the way, and I came to a stop at the bottom of the hill next to the semi, heart in my throat. And I renewed my vows with winter. And I took all that imagery of driving through those fields and the unpaved roads and turned it into this little song called For a Little While. Thank everybody for tuning in today, and thank you, Phil, for the invitation. And don't forget, if you're in the Buffalo area, February 19th at the Cave, 7:30, I think, or 7 o'clock start time. It's $15, $5 off if you bring a non-perishable food item donation for
That's
Feed More Western New York. And if you've sent something to our virtual guitar cases, busker cases, thank you for doing that as well.
Yeah, throw those.
And thank you for being here for a little while. Unpaved roads and open fields, the times of strength when I will not yield to a heavenly Father or Holy Ghost. I turn off the headlights and I just coast for a while. Coast for a while. Twisted turns and straightaways, when
Lonely nights turn into lonelier days. Across the canyon on 18 wheels, with no companion to make this feel like a home. Feel like a home. California looks so good for a while. The yellow sunshine and endless beaches for miles. Now all I need is a snow-capped mountain and someone I can count on to smile for a little while. Sometimes destiny chooses the road. You cross lines to places you'd never go. Sometimes you're left to carry an unwanted load that becomes another story untold. Across the border and far away, where I have friends and a place to stay, where I can clear out the corridors of my mind just for a day. Who knows what I will find? What I will find. California looks so good for a while. The bright yellow sunshine and endless beaches for miles. Now all I need is a snow-capped mountain and someone I can count on to smile for a little while. For a little while.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that is Davey O all the way from Buffalo.
Joe Henry. It's hard to do. It's hard to figure out which way to point, right?
Hey, by the way, I love the idea that. So I'm looking at. Oh gosh, thank you so much, folks who are chiming in. It's really nice to know that people are out there listening. By the way, we've got these twins.
Is that a Gibson? That's your Gibson, right?
That's my Gibson. Yeah.
Is yours a Rosewood? Mine's a Gibson J45 Rosewood.
This is not. This is kind of the standard.
It's a working man's, but they call it the workhorse for a reason.
Yeah, that's for sure.
It's a great guitar. I will defend my choice of guitar to death.
Me too. I love this guitar so much. It was always my dream guitar.
Yeah.
Like at some point somebody handed me one at a music store, and I was like, oh.
Right.
And it was a goal to get one.
Around the time I started to get into Blue Rodeo, I would go see them play because they played in Buffalo quite a bit, and Jim Cuddy had an old J45. And I was like, damn, that is such a cool guitar. It's like the quintessential kind of Americana guitar, right?
Yeah. I
saw that only a Gibson is good enough, as it is for my mug, right? But no, and so there's a really, I'm going to get guitar geeky here, but for the stuff that we do, the solo acoustic thing, this guitar has really tight, punchy low end and really crisp highs and not a lot of mid-range. Like Taylor guitars are very mid-rangey. And so that lack of mid-range in the guitar leaves a spot for your voice to sit.
Yes, that's
And
exactly right. It's like couched perfectly in the sound. Yeah,
and that's why this
agree.
guitar works great for solo acoustic guys. So
I wanted to do this thing during the show where I hand you a guitar, and then you.
oh,
play it.
that would that would be clever.
All right,
right?
bring your guitar over in that direction. Over and wait, go that way. Yep. All right. So wait, hold. All right. No, it's not gonna work.
That's not gonna work. I'd have to bring it in from here. Here, go ahead.
Would you like to play my Gibson?
I sure would.
Davey? There we go. I'll just hand it over. There you go. There we go. Perfect.
Thank you. This is where we're heading with this AI stuff, right?
Hey, this is going to be so great. It's going to be 2 weeks from today.
Right.
I'm going to be in Buffalo, and we're going to get to hang out in person. And isn't that amazing? So,
yeah.
In any case,
this
thank
is
you
cool
so much,
too, though,
Davey.
right? This is very cool. Thanks for being here.
It is,
everybody.
but there's
Thank you so
nothing like the real thing. So, all you in Western New York, come see us at the Cave for the Nickel City Sessions Redux.
Thank you.
Thanks everybody.
Thank you. Have a good night, everybody. Bye-bye.
Yay! All right, we're closing down the stream. I think we are good. Wait, maybe not. Wait, did it stop? I don't know. End stream. Oh, now I got it. I got it.